Morning folks, well, bit noisy here, but we're back in the Peak District. Kinder, all that, Dark Peak, it's all up that way. Today we're heading up into the northern parts of the White Peak of Derbyshire. And there's some hidden gems we're aiming to do on this 2-day adventure. Tonight, on a bit of a wild camp. Today we started off at Hope train station. We're doing a bit of a horseshoe route. Tomorrow we'll finish off at Grindleford train station. And in between, go across some hidden places in the Peak District that a lot of people don't know. In fact, some of them are so hidden, I don't even know if I'm going to find it because it only appears certain times of the year. Hopefully, we'll find it tomorrow. There's another few places we're going to go and past, caves and all sorts. So stick with us. So with that, let's get walking. We're heading up towards a Roman fort now. So let's get going. So this is the building beyond the mill. As you can see, it's agricultural merchants. Now note the name, WM. Eyre and Sons. Now that will be noted later in the video. So the Eyre family are quite big in Derbyshire, and I'll talk about that more later. So we're just heading up here a moment, because you can see just that little mound where those trees are. There's something special there. So the mound at the top was part of Navio Roman fort. This was a particular large fort, and the town, Roman town, was spread for 3 acres around where we are now. And the reason why it was located here is because Bateman Gate run alongside here. Bateman Gate was a Roman road that spread from Templeborough in South Yorkshire all the way down to Buxton, which is a spa town. Templeborough had a temple, a big place for the Romans, and they also liked to go to the Roman baths because they thought that there was healing powers in the water. So the road was built across here. It's about 33 miles in length. One of the Caesars, who was a descendant of Julius Caesar, Julius Venus, a general and emperor governor of Britain to one of the 12 emperors Caesars of Rome. And we know that because there's some stones that were found here when they did some excavations, and it actually dates back to the 2nd century, which all ties in with the Caesar that was in power at that time. We're going to take the Buff Lane, and then we're going to head up towards Abney Moor. And there's a couple of places along that track I want to point out as well. Right, start heading upwards now. Rough Lane, and this is going to take us up towards Abney Moor eventually. So that's the landmark of the works. You can see it for miles around and beyond. Okay, I just had a look behind, and obviously here, I think that's Carlswark up the top of there. And if we spin it around, looking behind it, in fact, let me turn around so you can see, rather than see my mug. Looking across there, the peak there, that's Loss Hill, or Loose Hill. Going across a little bit, you can see that like tree area, that's Back Tor. Moving across, we've got Hollins Cross, and then Man Tor. And then continuing on towards Rush Up Edge and Lord Seat is just a point that we can see right on the horizon. Anyway, we're still walking up Brough Lane, and we're heading up towards a ditch called Grey Ditch. And I'll tell you more about that as we reach it. Okay, so here we see this little mound here that's going along the edge. It is called Grey Ditch. So it was actually built by the Romans, as Roman pottery has been found along its course. Originally, it stretched 1.7 kilometres. Doesn't last that much at all now. It's a bit of a weird place to put it. It heads really towards like the direction of sort of like castles, and it is probably 100, 150 metres now. Then it drops off, and then you see a little bit more of it, and that's really what remains of it. And it was used as a boundary marker. Now, apart from the Romans using it, still today it's used as a boundary marker. Where I'm standing at the minute is basically the White Peak of Derbyshire. And if I walk to the opposite side of this ditch, I'm actually going to be in the Dark Peak of Derbyshire. So this is a boundary marker between the two areas of the Peak District, the White Peak and the Dark Peak. The White Peak really fits to the limestone that's within the White Peak. And then within the Dark Peak, peat itself and the gritstone, so the ashlar sandstone. Now, a lot of buildings have been built with gritstone in the past, millstone, pulp stones and other structures as well. So it has been a stone that's been used plenty of times in the past. The limestone's been used for a lot of things over the past as well. There's also the story that they believe that this was a boundary for the Mercians. The Mercia area was around here. We will be seeing another ditch like this, not in this video, but another video I've got coming out. I walked the Offa's Dyke, which is the border between England and Wales. Now that trail, I was lucky enough when I got to the Offa's Dyke Centre at Knighton. Unfortunately, a guy came out and he was the chairman of the Offa's Dyke, and he recognised me from my YouTube channel, funny enough. And anyway, a private guided tour of the exhibition and talking about Offa's Dyke, and he really went into detail about certain things that are quite worthwhile to watch. So that video is coming out in the next 2 to 3 months. In the meantime, let's carry on walking on this way. So we're just coming up to this hill. Now this is called Camp Hill. On the opposite side of it, just over there, is a place they do gliding. As we just noticed, a glider flying across the top. We are on Abney Moor now. So the moor itself is about a mile, mile and a half. And then we're going to head over to where we're looking sort of like Eyre to camp tonight. We can just about make out Lady Bower. So the bridge, that's Bretton Bridge, and the water just in front of it is Lady Bower Reservoir. Beyond that bridge, continues on Lady Bower Reservoir and then goes up to the Derwent and then up to the Howden Reservoir. So 3 large reservoirs. Tomorrow, I'm looking for a hidden gem. Now, I know exactly the location of where it is. It's problem is, it's hidden, maybe because a lot of people don't know where it is. And also, it only appears certain times of the year. Hopefully, we're going to come across it tomorrow. We're also going to go to a place that was of a tragedy and a place of worship that wasn't a church. Also, we're going to pop down through a place called Carlswark Network. And then we'll head on towards the River Derwent, and then eventually we'll finish off at Grindleford. interesting landscape. Not sure if I've walked down here before. These little mounds about. They're like spoil heaps, possibly for lead back in the day. There is open access land. But it is an interesting landscape. Nice and quiet here as well. And I think I might even pitch up somewhere around here. Okay, so I'm just looking for a pitch. I've just come across these. You can just see in the valley. I think it's a red deer. So about a muntjac. I don't see many muntjacks up this end of England, mainly in the south, from what I've seen in the past. So yeah, it looks like a bit of a, well, it's a deer of form. So I think I'm going to pitch up here because A, it's a very picturesque spot, very secluded here. So I think we're going to pitch up there. The ground's a bit soft, but it's quite flat. It is a bit mossy, spongy, but it's just a bit damp on top. I've got my ground sheets on, I think. So. Right, let's pitch it up. Sun's going down. We've got about, what time? Sunset is in about 20 minutes. We'll get the tent up and, well, we'll enjoy the evening. Right, let's pitch up. Right folks, we're in the tent. It's actually quite a nice pitch. The only thing is there's quite a lot of wildlife moving around. I can hear pheasants, sheep, and there's actually quite a lot of deers that's around here, and you can hear them calling out, but quite loud. And I heard it actually sounded like it was getting closer. There's a possibility, what I was hearing was a stag, which I'm hoping it's not going to get too close to the tent tonight. I've put a warmer layer on now because we've stopped walking around, so keep my body temperature quite warm enough. And plus, when I open it up in the morning, hopefully I might be able to pick up the sunrise looking in out to that direction. Food wise, well, tonight when I was at the Outdoor Expo, I came across pork, TORQ, and they were selling these foods, Explorer foods. So Explorer breakfast I've got there, and then obviously Explorer evening meal. These Explorer foods, I think I've had them once before. I've got supercharged tomato and basil, so a pasta dish. And then for breakfast, I've also got a supercharged cinnamon and raisin. And that's got oats, and it's got all the nutritional value. Protein is 25 grams, carbs is 100 grams, fat 4 grams, and calories is 542. Actually vegan dishes as well. Not that I'm a vegan, but I am eating a lot healthier now than I did before. What I'm going to do is get my gear all set up, and I'll come back to you in a little while. Right, I'm back with you. All my sleeping gear is ready to go, all lofting up. So I'm going to do some cooking in a moment. Okay, so we've got the stove on, just using the red lights at the minute. And it seems to be doing a reasonable job. I'm not getting any bugs in here at the moment. So as we're waiting for the stove to boil up the water, so I can have a brew, have a cappuccino. Okay, we are in my bed. I'm nice and warm now. My feet were starting, my toes, my big toes were starting to freeze. The problem with sealskin socks, they keep your feet dry, especially when you're walking through boggy areas, but the problem is they don't keep your feet very warm. So I've had to swap to my thermal wintry socks. My feet are warmed up now. Here we're in the valley and the cold air is blowing through. It has dropped quite considerably. I mean, even my fingers were getting a bit cold when I was filming earlier. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to sleep now. Now, fortunately, you can just about hear it in the background. That's the water running of Bertram Brook. Now, it's going to do one or two things. It's going to let me settle down and fall asleep to the water running through the brook, or I'm going to keep wanting to get up in the night for having a wee, because it's like running water. Hopefully it's the thirst in the waters makes me fall asleep and have a good night's sleep. So with that, I'm going to see you in the morning. Night. Morning, people. Well, that was a reasonable night's sleep. Again, let's put the jacket on top because it got a bit colder. Just turn it, just looking out underneath, we've got heavy ground frost. So yeah, temperatures did drop severely. It is 10 to 7. I'm not sure what the sunrise was because we've got no internet, so I couldn't find out what time it was at, but I reckon I've missed it. We are, well, I'm going to get out at the tent in a minute, have a quick look round and I'll show you what we've got and then start packing up. As I say, today we've got a few things I want to see. We've got this hidden gem that I'm hoping we might be able to see. A couple of other places we're going to visit today, including an interesting cave that became a church. Right, we'll get up and have a venture out. There you go. That's what I can see just underneath the tent we're out getting out. The ground's looking a bit red, so actually sunrise has just happened. So I might be able to pick up some coming up anyway. Ooh, God. Just noticed the tent is all frozen up as well. Right, let's get outside, have a look what's there. Oh, yeah. Well, that's definitely a ground frost. And there's a bit of low level cloud, so I wouldn't have seen on the sunrise anyway. This is a problem now because although it's frosted up, can't really tell where the boggy land is now. I'll still slip into it, I'm sure. Yeah, there's the tent, as you can see, but frosty. I did think the temperatures dropped last night, and definitely did. Oh yeah, sporting me at my winter long johns. Right, let's go and have a wander. I mean, I caught the best of the sun. We were, what, 5 minutes later and it's gone. Next place we're going up to is a place called Bretton. Right, I think it's time to get a brew on. What do you think? Let's get a brew on. Well, there's a change already. The fog, you can see it just slowly coming in now. Coming through this valley. It's coming that way as well, actually. The ground is actually warming up already, funny enough. When we first came out, what, 10-15 minutes ago, it was quite frozen, but it's starting to warm up. Just looked at the tent, actually, you can't even see it's ground frost on it, it's just damp now.
At least one thing. I need to get my tent down and everything so fast. Nobody's going to be wandering through this lot. Oh, I'd say it's pea soup out there. Oh, it's a bit parky. I thought it was warming up, it's actually getting colder again. I think it's as this mist is floating through. It's closing in both directions now. The visibility, less than 100 I think. And obviously as it comes through, it's quite cold. But I've got my brew. And that'll warm me up. See my hands are getting cold, they're going red. It's definitely cold. So we're going to drink my brew, have my breakfast, and then we'll start getting the gear down. So it looks like a mixture of porridge and Rice Krispies with raisins, with the cinnamon, plenty of raisins in it. Smells nice as well. We've got about 12 kilometres I'm walking today, so not that far, about 7.5 miles, and that will get us back to Grindleford train station on the edge of the Peak District. So, well, I should pack up and I'll see you in a little while. Okay, leave no trace. So I was here, you cannot see that. I've even ruffled up the ground, so you wouldn't even know a sheep has slept on it last night. Never mind me. Well, you can see the landscape, it's not looking too good at the minute. I still think the place, the hidden gem that I'm referring to, will still be there. I mean, the location is always there. It's what the gem is. Before about the connection of Liam Gallagher, Tom Cruise and the Queen, the late Queen. What's the connection? Well, you'll find out as we carry on with the walk. So stick with us. Hopefully you're enjoying this. And I didn't think I'll need my headlamp in the daytime. But with visibility down to around 40-50 metres, I think it's best to keep it on my head. So with that, we're going to head off. At the moment, I've got to try and traverse along this little narrow gap. It's a bit slippy and muddy, and try and get to the top. Not sure if that's going to be any easier. Well, we've got out to the valley. It's not getting any better. I just passed a couple of the children. They says come from Hadfield, and it's bright and sunny there. Maybe I should be walking in Hadfield. By Joe, I think this mist is lifting. I was down there. You can see those trees and that. That's where I camped last night. Look, we shine it up there. That's blue. And it's not the band. That's a blue sky. Okay, I may have spoke too soon. So on my right, just can about make it out, that's Bretton bunkhouse. It used to be a youth hostel, and now it's independent hostel. It was probably one of the most isolated hostels, youth hostels in the Peak District. The only place that's near it is the pub, because it's an interesting pub. Now this is the Barrel Inn, and usually it's either been renovated or it's just closed down. So it's nice to see that it's open, and by the smell of it, they must be doing a carvery. So it must be a popular pub now. The Barrel, well, it's believed to be the oldest pub in the whole of the Peak District. It dates back to 1597. The Barrel Inn is the highest pub in the Peak District as well. I think it's about 397 above sea level. Right, we're heading down this hill now. We're going to follow the footpath, see that woodlands in front. That's where we're aiming for. And that's our hidden gem down there.
Okay, so we've walked along the road from the footpath. Now I can hear a noise and the hidden gem is at full flow. And full flow is what I mean by, well, let me show you. And here we go. Well, if anybody wanted an Instagram shot in the Peak District, then this is it. But unfortunately, it's not here all year round. It only happens generally in winter, when it's after heavy rain or continuous rain. And we've had quite a lot of rain over the last month or so. So it's flowing down here. I was wondering actually, because it pours down here, goes round this like little ravine estuary type little thing, and then it just disappears. Where's it go? No one knows. But this natural gorge area is here all year round. It is a bit of a trek to get down. It's easier to get back up. But what a gorgeous picture to be. So these two pools in front is where it all goes to. Just that one underneath the hanging ivy and this pool here. Then they just go underground from there. But we are heading back up this way. Now, it looks easier to go up than it was to come down. Well, I'll tell you how easy when we get to the top. Interesting, there's a lot of glass down here. Flat glass, not like glass bottles glass. What we're looking at in front is just looks like a trickle of water. And then it heads down there and then it pours off the top. As I say, come the summer, this is all dried up. So we've just arrived in the village of Eyam. Now, Eyam is a historical village for one particular reason. Eyam is located in the centre part of the Peak District. A nice little village it is. But on August the 27th, 1665, a tailor's clerk brought some fabric from London. This fabric was wrapped in brown paper, and when the paper was opened up, the fabric was revealed, and with that fabric also came fleas, and these fleas were deadly fleas, as the plague had come to Eyam. 11 days later, on September the 7th, 1665, first person died, and then a continuation of people were dying in this village. The Reverend William Compesson and Thomas Stanley, they decided between them to isolate the village from other neighbouring villages in the Peak District. Now, what they set up was plague stones around the edge of the village. On a plague stone, if people wanted meats and other materials and resources wasn't in Eyam, then they would put the request of what they wanted on this plague stone, and there was holes drilled in the plague stone, and they were filled in with vinegar. In the vinegar, they would put their coins. This would sterilize the coin, making it able for neighbouring villages to trade with Eyam, but never meet each other. As the plague ripped through this village, 260 people died, only 83 survived. So the first death was September the 7th, 1665, and the last death was 1st of November, 1666. The problem being is that as the people isolated themselves, families were wiped out. Some families had as many 11 people died. The only way they could bury them is bury them themselves. So they took them out into the fields and buried them. So the building in front is the only red brick building in the whole of Eyam. And then here is the entrance to Eyam Hall on our left. Now, if I show it from a particular angle, like that angle, I've done a painting of that, just here. As we walk through the village, there's plenty of plaques noting different historical points of where families died from. So we'll wander through the village. We're going to go past the church of Eyam, but that wasn't used for religious services. That was used for putting the dead in until they buried them. And then we're going to go to a church. It's not your normal type of church. Cucklett Church. This is the grave of Catherine Mompesson. She was the wife of the Reverend William Compesson. So this is the Cucklett Delph. There is a path that takes us to the Cucklett Church. Right, we're heading down to the Cucklett Delph, and then within the Cucklett Delph is the Cucklett Church. Interesting church it is. This might be it. So this is the Cucklett Church, another hidden gem. It is a bit hard work getting to it. So this is like the grand archway. It's not the easiest place to get down to. And during the plague, services were held here. I think the main part of the church is down here. That path's quite treacherous. It's very slippy. Sharp rocks sticking out on either side. So I would have thought the main parts of the service were held in this section here, as it's really the largest section. I don't know how you had services here. Gone to be many that turned up. An interesting place nevertheless. Right, I'm going to try and get to the dell now, and we'll head down to the valley. Along the way, we'll come across some other interesting outcrops. Where are we going now? We're down here, Eyam Delph, or the Dell. You can just see Cucklett Church there, with the archways. So we're heading this way now. It is quite picturesque. You can see the plants up on the hill. I think they're snowdrops. Can't really tell from here. I'll zoom in maybe. The Delph is cut through a ravine. This will take us down to the road. So on the way, we're going to come across a couple of caverns. In fact, quite a big cavern. We actually are making progress down this Delph. But where I am now, there's a path just leading up here. Follow it round. So if I follow it round, it goes up that direction. It heads up right up there. There is like a big stick sticking upright. To the left of it, it looks like it's a darkness. And it is a big darkness. That is called Merlin's Cave. It is a big network of caves. And I think it's the biggest network of caves in Derbyshire. It's called Carlswark Cavern Network. So that's one of the entrances. But it is not a show cave. So don't come up here thinking, oh, I'm going to wander in the cave. I remember from there, you walk in about 10-20 meters and then it's a pothole about 50 meters down. You need to really have the right gear and right know-how and not to go by yourself. There's a massive labyrinth of tunnels. I'll show you the map to it that somebody's put together. So we're going to walk down to the road. You can just about see the road there. We're going to walk along another path. We'll pass us a couple of more entrances of this Carlswark Cavern Network. Now, I used to do some caving many years ago when in my youth. We used to go in South Wales, a place, an area called Crickhowell. We used to do a lot of caving around there and other places as well. I quite enjoyed it. Did it properly, got all the gear and everything else. Used to go into some really tight holes. Went to a place called the Time Tunnel where you have to crawl on your side for an hour and a half. What was it, about 1.5 feet wide by about 2 or 3 feet high. Hard, strenuous stuff, and it wasn't smooth stone, it was rocky stone. I went out with a group of people. I was the last person in the group. The floor and the ceiling was the height of my boots. And as I'm pushing along, my boot got wedged in between the floor and ceiling, and I couldn't move it apart. Caves, generally at night time and other times, flood. Okay, so this area I was in would have flooded, I would have drowned. And the other thing is, this was the only way into the cave. So my whole group of 9 people wouldn't have been able to get back out. It was just fortunate some other people, some other cave divers came in and they were spending overnight there. And one of them came behind me and dislodged my boot. So I went in that cave. We did the day tour, and that's when I thought, my caving days are over. My feet are too big to fit in the cave. So, no longer a caver, but I know the dangers of caving. Me and my stick, me and my stick. Now, if you think about doing some caving yourself, then all I suggest is that you go with a caving club. If you want to do some proper caving, show caves is one thing, where you go around on a tour. If you want to do some proper caving, join a caving club. They have the right equipment and they'll show you the right ways. start at beginner's level, go to more advanced. I can assure you there are different levels. I've been in some tough caves in the past. So join the caving club. Don't go it alone. So you can just about make out there's a structure there, an old dwelling, possibly a quarryman's house. But then we see this in front of us, and it towers up with this chimney stack. This isn't a cave, it's not a mine, it's a lime kiln. Let's have a quick closer look. Okay, so yeah, that goes back a little bit. You can see the limestone around the edge, an old lime kiln. As we move away from the lime kiln, if you look up that way, if you follow it up, that takes you to an old quarry. Disused, well, as I say disused, has been used recently. Because when I talked about celebrities, one of those celebrities was Tom Cruise. And if you remember Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning, where he flies off a quarry cliff face with a train, well, that was done here. And there's another connection to Tom Cruise, to another place we're going to in a little while. This lane here going up the hill was called Black Harry Lane. It takes its name from the notorious highwayman of the late 18th century. The merciless robber would prey upon travellers and merchants who often transported goods by mule, holding them up at gunpoint for their goods and valuables made their tracks and trails across the moors, lonely and treacherous places. However, justice was prevailed, as the Castleton Bow Street Runners, similar to the original Bow Street Runners of London, which became the first professional police force. After the trial in Derby, he was transported back to pay the ultimate price for his dastardly deeds by being hanged on the gallows tree at Wardlow Myers, in which he was drawn and quartered and his remains displayed in a gibbet as a warning to others. Now we are heading this way. We shall pass a few more cave entrances. Probably not many people walk up and down it. Probably the odd caver and the odd climber. I'm not doing either. We are following the path down into Stoney Middleton. I've never walked up this path before, so it's as much a mystery to you as it is to me what we're going to find. I didn't realise how high we've just climbed. The road is way down there. Can't even see it. You can just make out that vehicle there. In fact, the gap there. I thought we only walked a few metres up. Now we're all near enough near the top of the cliff face. Hopefully I haven't got the abseil down. So I didn't bring a rope. I've only got a bit of power cord and my guy lines to my tent. So I'll follow this path down and around. Right, trying to fall off it. I don't know why I came this way. I could have walked on the pavement on the road. I thought I'd try something different. Why walk on the nice pavement by the road when you can walk on the cliff edge? Hopefully I get to put this video out, as in like I complete the walk and I don't fall off a cliff face. My bum's twitching a little bit. Okay, we're just walking along, found a bit of an opening here, a couple of climbers. But then just here, there is an entrance into the Carlswark Cavern network. And as the guy just said, this goes all the way down and then comes back and comes out near that Merlin's cave, which is a good 400 metres away from here, underneath the road. But there's another entrance here. It's dotted around here all over the shop. There you go, we've got another entrance here into the cave system. You've got to go up to go down on that one. And another one there. They're dotted around these caves. So you can continue that way. But I'm going to try this way and see if we can get back down to the road. Because there's a couple of other places I want to show you before we finish this walk off. The cliffs you see in front. Now, something happened here. So that is Lover's Leap, where Hannah Bradley decided to jump off the top of the cliff.
In 1762, Hannah Bradley was the most beautiful girl in Stoney Middleton. Unable to face the future after being rejected by her lover, William Barnsley, she decided to end her life. She climbed to the top of this cliff, proclaimed her love for William and jumped. Her woolen petticoats billowed out and parachuted her down to safety, with only cuts and grazes. She stayed a single lady until her death on the 12th of December 1764, as she died of natural causes.
Okay, so we're heading into the centre of Stoney and Middleton. So what you can see in front of us is a single-storey building with a single chimney. And there's actually got 8 sides to it, built like that to mirror the church of St Martin's, which we'll pass later on. Originally, it was a toll house for this particular road, and I must admit, they make a lot of money if it was still a toll house today, because they would have made a fortune. This is one of the busiest roads in the Peak District. This now, as you can see, a fish and chip shop. And then when I said about celebrities in common, Liam Gallagher, the late Queen, and Tom Cruise have all been to this chip shop. And it is the oldest chip shop in England in 1925, grade 2 listed. And as you can see, we have a weather forecasting stone. If the stone is wet, it's raining. If the stone is dry, it's not raining. Shadow on the ground, it's sunny. White on top, it's snowing. Can't see stone, it's foggy. If the stone is swinging, it's windy. And if the stone is gone, there's a tornado. See the end of this building, there's a dovecote, a small one. And then if we look down here, a whoosh over water. Because this used to be a mill. So there's still 2 more things, well 3 more things actually in Stoney Middleton Sea. One is on our right. So it's an Orthodox wayside shrine to St Bertram. Bertram was believed to be the Prince of Mercia. And he puts his trust in God, crying, "There is none holy save thee, O Lord." So wayside shrines serve as spaces where travellers can stop a while and say a prayer. So this is the Church of St Martin's. It's built in an octagonal shape. The octagonal church voted England's ugliest chapel. A church has stood here since 1415. A local lady, known as Joan Eyre, built the original St Martin's Church after her husband, Sir Nicholas Eyre, safely returned home after fighting in the Battle of Agincourt. Note the name Eyre, as this was a big family in Derbyshire. Charlotte Bronte, the author, used to visit the Eyre family in Derbyshire in the summer of 1845, and the following year she wrote best-selling book Jane Eyre. The fictional building of Thornhill Hall in the novel is based on Northlees Hall between Hathersage and Stanage Edge. There's 3 newts common in Britain. The Great Crested is actually the least common to be found. And there's quite a few ponds and places around the Peak District that you can find it. There's a place near Forlow, there's a pond there, and that's where the first Great Crested newt was ever recorded. Right, we're going to head on, walk along the path, following the Derwent Valley Heritage Way over to Grindleford, which is our final port for today. Damn, the moles are big round here. The size of them bloody molehills. Each one must be 3 metres high. Right, I just thought I'd put my down jacket on. And then I saw that down there some splashing. There's actually 2 people swimming in there. No, that's brave. It's definitely brave. It's been an interesting one. I've found a few spots that I've never been to but myself. Hopefully you've enjoyed it as well. If you have, then please click the like. Also add a comment and please subscribe. We're going to head off to Grindleford. So with that, I'm going to wrap this one up. Started to spot the rain now. Hopefully you've enjoyed it, and I shall see you on another one. Have a good time. Bye bye hikers.